Talk about fat a little bit. You've touched on it briefly here, but you know, it wasn't, what, 20, 25 years ago when everything was low fat or no fat. But fats can be confusing, I think, for a lot of people as well in terms of what we need, if we need them, and how much.
This idea of dividing food, you know, this whole idea of fats and carbohydrates, it's all, how should I say, shows how confused and uninformed and twisted people have been learning about nutrition. These questions shouldn't even be, it's like, I understand they're important questions, but they shouldn't be the questions. Because it doesn't matter how much carbohydrate and fat you eat. What matters is that when you eat the right carbohydrates and the right fats, you won't want to overeat on them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when you're eating the whole food contains fiber with the fat. When you're eating almonds and sunflower seeds and pecans and pistachio nuts, they're filling, but they're fiber filled. And the fibers in the nuts and seeds bind fat. And the calories are not all biologically accessible because those sterols and stanols and fibers suck the fat out into the toilet bowl. Oil is 120 calories a tablespoon. That's fat. But because it's not associated with fibers, sterols, and stanols, all 120 calories come to the bloodstream within 5 to 10 minutes. If you were going to a buffet and I gave you a tablespoon of olive oil to eat in your mouth while you were waiting online to get your food, you wouldn't eat 120 calories less at the buffet. There's no fiber or nutrients in the oil, so you eat the same amount of calories in the buffet. If I poured the oil over the food on the buffet, you'd probably eat more calories than the 120 in the oil. Oil leads to overeating calories. Instead of giving you the olive oil, if I gave you some walnuts or pistachio nuts, 40 calories a tablespoon, then you would have eaten 40 calories less at the meal because that would have reduced your appestat. Not only that, you'd have sensed you took in 40 calories, but all 40 calories wouldn't have come into the body anyway because part of those fat calories would have been pushed out in the stool. And when nuts and seeds and their sterols and stanols and fibers continue to suck out fat in the stool, they don't just suck out the fat that was in the nut and seed. They suck out oxidized LDL and saturated fat that's in your body. They suck fat out of your bloodstream and put it into the toilet bowl. They're such fat magnets that they're able to suck out the unhealthy fats and let better fats come in. So we're talking about, I don't want people to be fearful of eating fat, but I do want them to be concerned about eating processed fats, processed food fats, which is oil. People equate fat with oil. Nuts and seeds are a high-fat food. We should get almost all our fats from eating whole food, not from processed food like oil, because we have a completely different biological response. When you eat your nuts, when you eat your high-fat foods, come from these almonds and pistachios, and as opposed to oils. So the same thing with protein. The only three nutrients here: fat, carbohydrate, and protein. We want to get most of our protein from plants. Because when the protein is bound to fiber and has antioxidants and phytochemicals, it has completely different biological effects in the body. It doesn't raise hormones excessively high. It's absorbed into the bloodstream relatively slowly. It keeps IGF-1 low but steady state. But when we spike the bloodstream with lots of protein, high biological protein, like egg whites or white meat chicken, all at once, then we have a hormonal response to have excessive amounts of IGF-1 respond, and the high level of animal protein in the gut fuels the growth of unfavorable bacteria that promote pro-inflammatory compounds. So you can't eat a lot of processed carbohydrates and be healthy. You can't eat a lot of oils and be healthy. And you can't eat a lot of animal products and be healthy. Your diet the majority of your diet has to come from unrefined plant food if you want to have good health. It's as simple as that. If you're not willing to eat natural plant foods, you can't have good health.